How's it going, everybody? CJ here. Back into the video. We're doing another First Thoughts today. This First Thoughts is on Laelia the Blade Reforged. Before we hop into this, though, remember, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting close to 1,000. Come on. I want to do another giveaway, so I can give away another playmat. Like this video. Comment down below if you're going to build Laelia. And if you are, let me know if there's any cool tech that you thought of that I did not, or if I helped you out. Also, down in the description, we have the Twitch, we have the Twitter, we have my Pokemon channel, help me choose my starter. What else do we got down there? We got the Patreon if you want to support the channel. Also, the TCG player affiliate link. If you're going to buy any of the cards I talk about in this video, buy them through there. Helps out the channel. And we're going to hop into this. So, Laelia the Blade Reforged. This card's very cool. I kind of just built a deck, not built a deck. I kind of just went through and found a bunch of cards that synergize really well with her, because she doesn't really have many different game plans. It's like kind of one game plan, and she's kind of just like a synergy piece with the rest of the cards in your deck. So some cards that work really well in this deck include Omen Machine. Omen Machine stops players from, it gives you an immediate card advantage over your opponents because players can't draw cards, and at the beginning of at the beginning of their draw step, they exile top card of their library instead. So that means you're exiling 2 cards. One you get to use for free, and the other one you can cast, while your opponents don't get the one to cast. They just have the free one. So, I mean, it's advantage over your opponents. It's card advantage right there. You've got Mystic Forge. Main reason why is because you can tap it to exile a top card of your library. And that's not a bad move. Like, just tap it, remove something, and maybe get rid of a land, and be able to cast the next card. That seems solid, too. Grim Lavamancer lets you exile cards from your graveyard to deal damage, and now draw you cards. Well, impulse draw you cards. That's good synergy. Atalia Primal Storm. When he attacks, you're exiling a card from the top of everyone's library. So you get to cast a card from each opponent's library for free, one from your library for free, and you get an impulse draw from your own library as well. That seems pretty synergistic. Apex of Power, you get to just exile an extra card. I mean, it's kind of minimal effects, but still seems pretty solid. You got a bunch of Chandras that help with this. You got Chandra, Heart of Fire, Torture Defiance, Fire Artisan, and Pyromaster. All of those seem great in this deck. It's just you're getting additional value off of your Planeswalker's loyalty abilities. So, not bad. You got escape cards because those exile cards from your graveyard. Underworld Breach in specific is very, very powerful here. You can also use Phoenix of Ash for a recursive bird that exiles cards. Ox of Agonis can give you card draw if you're low on cards. And Escape Velocity can just give creatures that you want to have haste. Not too bad. You can throw in Throes of Chaos. This card's very cool because Cascade will also trigger Laelia. So you can just retrace this too. So any lands that you draw, you can turn into Cascades, and that turns into a card draw and a free cast. So that's a lot of value. Phyrexian Devourer. This card is bonkers in this deck. You can just, for free, exile top card of your library and then put counters on it. And so you can just do this whenever you want to. But the thing is that when its power is over 7, you have to sacrifice it. So you're just going to have to stack triggers at that point. But you can just, at will, draw as many cards as you want, pretty much. Well, draw as many cards as you want. Magmatic Sinkhole. It's a delve card, so you can just delve away some stuff to cast it for cheaper, and you're exiling cards from your graveyard, so you get the impulse draw. Seems solid. Relic of Progenitus and Scrabbling Claw. Both of these seem fantastic in the deck. You can tap them to exile cards from your own graveyard to impulse draw for free. That seems extremely powerful. Plus, if you need to, you can use them to get rid of your opponent's graveyard, so it's extra gravy there. You got Mizzix's Mastery to exile cards from your graveyard. Again, easy. Uba Mask. This one's pretty cool. The player would draw a card. That player removes that card from the game face up instead. And each player may play cards he or she removed from the game with Uba Mask this turn. So it turns all card draw basically into impulse draw. And because And so then anytime you draw a card, you actually impulse draw 2 cards. And okay, so the reason why I keep saying impulse draw, for those of you that don't know, I believe the term came from the card Act on Impulse, which is also a good card in this deck. And that's I think that was the first card that the effect was on, or it's one of the, it was like the first card that really got the effect named, I guess. I think. I'm not positive, but that's just a guess. But impulse drawing is the exile in the top card of your library. You can cast it until the end of the turn. Just in case you didn't know that. Ubamask seems great in this deck. You got Stratascythe, because it exiles a land from your library, and then it can make Laelia really, really big, because she's mono red, so you'll have a lot of mountains anyways. You got Possibility Storm. Just every time you cast a spell, you get a free spell back. Seems solid. Or not a free spell back, but you get a additional card available to cast. And the cards that you exile when Possibility Storm is in play off of Laelia's trigger, you'll actually be able to cast and won't have to Possibility Storm them because they are not being cast from your hand. There's Chaos Harlequin. I don't think any of you have ever seen this card because I sure haven't. But it's got, for 1 red, remove the top card of your library from the game, and the rest of it doesn't really matter. You can just pay 1 and essentially draw a card. Impulse. Seems very solid in this deck. It's actually got a home here. And it is part of the reserve list, so if you want a copy of this, you should get it sooner than later. Sir Kara the Bold. Okay, these are just here's a list of just cards that are just impulse draws. Like these are cards that allow you to impulse draw. Sir Kara the Bold. Whenever it deals damage, you impulse draw, and you can tap to ping. You got Valakut Exploration. On landfall, you do it. Tectonic Giant. On attack trigger, you do it. And every time you do impulse draw, you get to impulse draw again because of Laelia. Jessica's Will. Same thing. Abbot of Carol Keep. Does it on ETB. Act on Impulse, as I mentioned already. Commune with Lava, so you can do it for a lot. The Backside of Burgee and Magmatic Chandler. You can discard cards to exile top 2. And then Outpost Siege, just to do it every turn. Seems solid. Also, there's a couple of cards I wanted to mention that work with counters, with the +1/+1 counter. There's not a lot of +1/+1 counter synergy inside Mono Red, but you got the Ozolith, which is fantastic, should be an auto include. And Animation Module seems pretty decent. So if you have any extra mana, whenever you put counters on Laelia, you can just create some servos. Doesn't seem bad. And you're going to make a pretty big Laelia pretty easily, so you might as well throw in cards like Rogue's Passage, Whisper Silk Cloak, and Hot Soup. So that way you can get in without having to worry about blockers. Also, it helps to protect Laelia when she's small in the beginning. And you can use Maze of Ith for the same thing. So you can get the attack trigger and then take her out of combat with Maze of Ith so you don't have to worry about her dying. All those seem like great includes. And lastly, I want to just talk about some cards that are good in Mono Red. Because you are just playing Mono Red, so you might as well throw in Cage Sun, Gauntlet of Power, Ruby Medallion. All those seem like fantastic includes. And that is what I have for Laelia the Blade Reforged. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Peace out, everybody.